God had been observing over the past year the things that have been going on earth. And he called in a couple of his special angels and said, wow, they've really had a go of it, haven't they? You know, pandemic, sacred timeout, working with aligning and eliminating separation. And, you know, they've had a time. What do you think? And one of the angels says, well, why don't I go down and just kind of assess the situation and see how everybody's doing? So the angel came back and said, wow, well, only 30% is really still uplifted and positive and energized about, you know, life. And God being God went, only 30% of 100%, only 30%. And the angel said, yeah, and they're mostly like new thoughters, you know, unity and, you know, signs among people and people in recovery. I mean, that's kind of the bulk of them. But God said, but 30%. So send another angel. Well, you know, do you have another perspective? So the angel goes and comes back and says, yes. You know, Angel Gabriel's right. It's like only 30% are really just staying hopeful and knowing that everything's happening for a reason and all that. Yeah. So God said, well, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to craft an email. And I'm going to send the email to the 30% and see if I can give them, you know, 5 or 10 things they can do to keep their vibration up and keep them positive. Well, it was sent last Tuesday. Did you not get yours? Well, check spam. Okay, if you're that confident, check spam. But isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? And when we think about Hosanna and likened to what Dr. Aileen said, Jesus knew what was in store for him, though the crowd that was clapping did not. Don't you sometimes have things going on in your life, and the crowd may not know where you're at, what you're going through, what you're experiencing? But at the end of this life, you don't take a crowd with you to report, my friends. You take yourself, you take your soul. You are accountable to only you, to how you have listened to your intuition and the possibilities of your life path. When I used to hear about early on as, you know, in my 20s about how you could, you know, I don't know that we were using the word transformation now. You know, we are always evolving to longer syllable words that make us feel very, very important. We weren't using that word then, but we were thinking about, you know, having an awakening or opening or something. And we would talk about how you go from the person, like Jesus would say, it is not I, but the Spirit within me who doeth works. You know, it is my Father within that creates these healings, these revealings, these everything that's going on. And I was like, how do I hold that, you know, within myself? What does that look like within myself? And one time I was sitting down with some friends and we were watching yet again the movie Superman. And in that, you know, watching Clark Kent, who was very interesting in his humanity, somewhat goofy, I think you could say, or nerdy. I'm just telling a story, okay? But he would be like that. But then when he was called to something greater, you know, he would go into a phone booth. Now, many of you watching don't know what that is, but look it up on Google. But he would go into a phone booth and he would invoke the greater essence of who he was. He would call forth, I know this is why I came. I know this is the work that I am to do. And he would call it in. And he would just in that moment have a divine transformation that he could fly. Was faster than any train. He was faster than any idea. He was greater than any limitation. And that was a soaring metaphor or analogy for me of learning to work with that concept of how quickly, at any given moment, any of you can take that moment, step over here, and what's over here isn't what was over there. Okay? It's a decision that you make. It is not I, but the Spirit within me who doeth the works, and I am bringing that in. I am energized by that presence, and I am in that space. Now, kryptonite would weaken Superman, For you sitting around gossiping and criticizing and judging people and getting caught up in people's opinion of what you're supposed to be doing, or if you're supposed to take a shot or not, or what you're supposed to do, and people imposing their values on you will weaken you like unto kryptonite, and you learn to work through it by silence and meditation and prayer that brings you back up to this energetic being that is being born, made in the new and image and likeness of God. I would say that on my ministry path, one of the greatest things I will say when I'm ending this chapter of my life is I will say clearly that being a minister and being on a platform and needing to stand out loud in front of people, no matter what was going on in my life, that I was able to witness what Spirit within me could do. Because many a Sunday in many years, I have come here, I have been sick, I have said goodbye to a family member on Saturday night, I'm in grief, and yet I don't bring it into the room. I go, it's not I, but the Spirit within me who doeth the works, bring it on. God, surprise me. Say that with me. God, surprise me. In my book, When Did You Die? 8 Steps to Stop Dying Every Day and Start Waking Up. I talk about how, the secret of life is not whether you will live or die. It's not allowing yourself to die while you're living. To stay alive. It's not about your age. It's not about all the other things that we deem being so important. It's like, do we have that vibration of being fully alive? Are we ready to meet this moment full in and exceed that 30% that is positive about our world, but to be electrified and energized, you see? There's a story about a man that wanted to work for Stanford University. And so he went and applied for the job. And the guy said, well, the only job I have left is I have a typewriter position. And the man said, well, I'll have to start going into next week. Can't start today. I'll have to start next Tuesday. And the guy said, okay, fine. So on Tuesday, the man reports, ready to go. And the guy that hired him said, can I just ask you, why did you have to postpone your job until Tuesday? He said, well, I needed to go rent a typewriter and learn how to type. That's what that's all about. You prepare yourself for the next thing coming into your life, even when you can't see it. Even when you don't know it's going to call your name, you continue to prepare yourself for that next space, that next life position, that next moment that's calling you, that has your name on it. On Palm Sunday, with Jesus making the walk, the ride on the donkey. Somebody did call me and ask me if we were renting a donkey for our service this Sunday. I'm sure Reverend Wanda did think about it. But anyway, I'm going to stick with where I'm coming from, or where God's coming from, whichever one of us is coming from something today. But anyway, in that space, Jesus knew the difference between, at least in my own mind, the difference between a path and a journey. You see, your path is based upon cause and effect that you practice every day in your life, whether you're aware of it or not. Your path is based upon that really there's no wrong turn that you can take, because every turn you take, you're taking you with you. Don't ever turn on yourself, pun intended. And so your path is one thing. However, your journey is another. So he could walk down or ride the donkey down that path. He could do the celebration about the path because he was more into, at least in my own mind, the knowing of the journey. That his soul journey in many ways had only just begun. He's sitting there going, hey, they're going to be talking about me 2021 plus years. We got this. Because his soul journey knew the impact that would be made in this life, even though sadly, it's quite misinterpreted by a lot of people. but he knew that those that picked up the ways of the energetic connection to God and discovered the Christ within, that their lives would be fulfilled and transformed for sure. You know, when I would sit with my grandmother, I still see her hands, and we would sit there and we'd put together a puzzle, one of our most greatest moments of doing puzzles, and we'd look at the image of the box, and we would say, okay, there's red. We've got a few pieces left, and it requires red, and we couldn't find red on a piece that was left, so ultimately we found ourselves kind of like forcing the pieces. Make it, let's try to make it fit right there. Push it in. But it wouldn't work. We pushed it, but it wouldn't work. And it was interesting because we never questioned the manufacturer of the puzzle. We never did. We never did say, you think they left out the piece with red? No. We would take a stand for that manufacturer. We didn't know them, never met them. Probably got the puzzle on sale, but we were at it. We were without a doubt, never doubting them. Well, look at your manufacturer. Look at who manufactured your life, your soul's journey, with all the pieces that you are supposed to have. Do you stand up for your manufacturer? Do you take a stand? Whatever is going on externally in your life, do you take a stand for it and say, here we are? Here we are, Lord. Here we are, God. Here we are. Jane Goodall said this, and I think it's very profound. We could change the world tomorrow. We could change the world tomorrow if all the millions of people around the world acted the way they imply that they believe. Wow. Isn't that powerful? Yes, we could change the world tomorrow if the millions of people around the world would act the way they imply that they believe. Do you believe in your manufacturer? And are you ready unequivocally to take a stand and to say yes? Very, very important and significant question, you see. Our bodies are designed. I think spiritually, the universe just didn't want us to miss any clues. But if you look at our electric system, you look at our chakra system, from here below you have qualities of the earth, and from the heart above you have heaven. You're literally walking around with earth and heaven all the time. Shamanically speaking, spiritually speaking. And the three lower chakras, your vibration system, your electric system, your EKG system, your aura system, whatever you can feel comfortable with your belief system holding, this is nothing esoteric. It's proven with physics and with science that your lower chakras represent the root chakra, the earth, the relationship, represents emotions, represents your mental, and that's where so many people spend their time, working through all that. I'm just working through all that. I'm just working through all that. I'm having a good day. I'm not having a bad day. What kind of mood you in? Somebody love you, somebody don't love you. Oh, let's spend all my time there. Well, all of a sudden, this beautiful heart that is the bridge, this bridge gets denied. This bridge, this beautiful heart says, you are a vibration of love. Though you may not understand it, love anyway. Though you may have been hurt, love anyway. Though you may have been questioned, love anyway. Stand for your manufacturer. Though another friend has let you down, there's 6 waiting on you to sit in their lap and love you. Love you. Open up your heart. Show it in your eyes that you are alive and that you are pumping that energetic presence of God. Yes, and when you do that with the bridge, you are not only honoring that you are a human being walking on this earth, which is very important, but you open up your I am. You open up your I am. I am that which I am. I am that beloved representation of God. I declare, I know, I invoke, I claim, I know, I claim. I am Telling people to sit around and say they're I ams when they're still focusing on I'm not in a relationship can be a little difficult. You have to open your heart. You have to open the magnet of your life, and then you get that, and your third eye comes through, and you can see and witness all of these things. That is one thing that I would love to see someone write more about, is that it was the practice of what Jesus did, not just the results of what Jesus did. Because I'm convinced he had to be a shaman, because he had to be able to future see all these incredible things in his life. Yes? So when it comes to you, what about you? What about you, and what about this week as you are preparing for your Easter moment? What within you are you willing to allow to die so the energetic you can be born? What essence can come forward? As Wayne Muller says in the book, How Shall We Live? Knowing that we will die. Whether it's physical death, it's about the energetic death. What will you do? Are you going to spend your life just repairing your life? That's like planting a garden and only spending time removing weeds and tilling the soil and doing all that. At some point, you've got to plant something. Now, here's the thing. Someone said the best time to plant a tree would be 20 years ago. But the second best time is now, right this minute. So what are you going to plant in your consciousness and in your life that will start today to move from over here? Sorry, cameraman, Chris. Love you. To move from over here. So what will that be? What will that look like? Because literally, that's all you need to do is step in that phone booth and call in. That beloved, that energetic, that amazing presence. It's like a young boy said to a pianist one time, I would give my life to be able to play like you do. And the pianist looked at him and said, well, actually, I have. What are you giving your life to? What are you involved with, focusing on, talking about, representing at any given moment? Journal this week and be on a vision quest of your life to answer these questions. So I'll close by saying that there was a little boy waiting at the bus stop. And someone on the sidelines, part of the crowd, said to him, son, you need to go down to the corner. The bus won't stop there where you are. And the little boy said, yes, it will. Thank you. And then the man kept on and said, no, that bus won't come pick you up where you are. So in a minute, the bus comes, pulls right up in front of that little boy. And the little boy looked back to the crowd and to that man and said, I knew he would stop because the bus driver is my dad. Do you know who your dad is? Do you know who your Holy Father is? Do you know who the Spirit that lives and moves, that gave you breath this morning and got your heart to beat? Are you taking a stand for that in your life? God bless you.